everybody, this is Vicky of SingleMotherAhoy.com and you're listening to my podcast. This is one of a series of podcasts about using Facebook pages to promote your blog or business. And this week's podcast is 5 top tips for getting more organic engagement with your Facebook page. I did a podcast a couple of weeks ago about how to boost posts and how they can be useful, but I really do feel that you don't need to boost posts in order to get that engagement. And so here are my 5 top tips for doing that. The first tip is to use links, post links, but when you post a link, don't just, paste and run. When you post a link into Facebook, it will kind of have a think for a couple of seconds and then it will come up with a preview of a picture from the site that you've linked to and a little blurb underneath. You can edit that blurb. If you put hover your cursor over it, it changes colour, it goes yellow, and you can change what it says. Certainly if it's your own blog post, I always would recommend changing that slightly and saying something different, so that it's not, quite often that text there is just the first few lines of your blog post, and if the first few lines of your blog post are captions, links, strange little bursts of text that wouldn't make sense if they're all kind of strung together on one line, that looks a bit funny and it's not very engaging. I would always kind of just change it a little bit, even if you only kind of take out a couple of words or add a few more words or something, just to make it kind of more unique. I would also suggest have a look at the picture that Facebook is previewing. Quite often, when they preview a picture, they take the picture and they only take like the middle section of it. And that can look pretty weird when it then appears on somebody's Facebook timeline. They don't necessarily see what they're going to be getting if they click the link. And you always have to assume that people aren't going to take the time to read everything around your link, so your explanation at the top or the blurb at the bottom or anything else. They're really just going to look at the picture, so make sure that picture is going to catch their eye and tell them exactly what they're getting. If you don't like the picture on the site, then go away and create your own picture or find a different picture or whatever. Just put a different picture in. It's easy to upload one, or you can post a picture and add the link underneath, but that doesn't really have the same effect for me. But there's a few ways that you can do things. I also just want to mention here as well about claiming authorship on your blog posts. If you have a WordPress blog, it's really simple to do. You can do it through your SEO plugin. What it means is that when anybody posts a link to your site on their Facebook, it will show as the post, the link, the little blurb underneath the picture, like I mentioned, and then it will say from, so for example, with my one, it says from SingleMotherAhoy.com, and then it says by SingleMotherAhoy, and where it says by SingleMotherAhoy, that is a link to my Facebook page. So if people see it on other people's Facebook walls, the idea is that they can then click that link and come to my Facebook page and like it if they want to. And I do think I have seen that happen a few times lately. It's certainly worth doing. It helps people to know where you are and to come and find you if they want to. My second tip is about videos, and the tip basically is to post videos. People like videos, Facebook likes videos. More importantly, it's when you're scrolling down your Facebook timeline, it is really difficult to ignore a video that is, a moving picture, basically. You want to post videos, the kind that are kind of native inside of Facebook, so that they start playing as you scroll past them, rather than a link to a video, which doesn't work quite so well. When you get a video that's already moving as you scroll down your screen, it's really hard to ignore. Quite often people will stop and watch it. They might not even turn the sound on, but they will stop and watch. They might like it, share it, comment on it, and so on. And that's what you want. You want that engagement, because once they've commented on a few of your posts, they'll start to see more of your other content as well as your videos. So videos are a great way of drawing people in and getting them to see what you are about, basically. I would also say here, it doesn't need to be one of your videos. In fact, it probably works better if it's not one of your videos, because otherwise you just look a bit kind of self-obsessed. It doesn't need to be something specifically about your niche. I tend to assume that the people who like my Facebook page, the ones that interact with me, tend to be they like the same things as me. They're quite like me anyway. So if I find something funny, they're going to find it funny. And if they don't find it funny, they'll tell me they don't find it funny, and we'll have a chat about that instead. Try not to post anything that's going to offend people, no nudity and all that, unless that's what your page is about and your fans already know that. But anything kind of amusing, interesting, thought-provoking, it's just going to help you get the ball rolling with that engagement, because it will get more people are likely to see it, basically. And if more people see it, more people are likely to comment on it. You're going to get that engagement going. and that will help you when you post other content later on. My third tip is about the text that you post. Try to limit how much text you put into that box. Facebook recommends between 100 and 250 characters. Any more than that, it's an essay nobody's going to read. Any less than that, and it's just, what was that? That, you know, you can scroll past it so quickly, people just won't even bother to engage their brains to read it, really. But don't just say, oh, I've had a really rubbish day. Try to be positive and upbeat. Ask a question. Tell people something funny that's happened to you. You know, something. Don't just put the stuff that you might put on your personal page. Don't do vague booking. Nobody likes the vague booking. Oh, I'm so sad, or, you know, somebody's going to get it or something. None of that. By all means, make it personal. On my Facebook page, anybody who follows it will know that it's very personal. People know a lot about me and about my life and about my daughter, but I'm not kind of I try not to be whingy and moany with it. It's fine to be personal, but not to be vague about it, not to slag people off. Try and keep it light-hearted and upbeat, but ask questions and try and find ways of engaging people. So if there's something on the news, something's going on, locally, things like that. A lot of my fans are local, so I'll always comment on things that are going on locally. And I know that people that are not local will not find that terribly interesting, but quite often actually they do. Quite often they're like, oh, that sounds like you live in a really interesting place. I wish that happened here. Things like that, you know. My next tip is about targeting. You can target your posts on Facebook. It's really easy to do, and you can target it in the same way as you would target if you were boosting a post or having an ad of some kind. So you can say, I want to target males or females in a relationship, not in a relationship, interested in this, this and this, lives here, here or here, you know. So you might think, well, that's going to exclude like a whole load of my audience. The only restriction Facebook has is if you're targeting, you must be targeting more than 20 people. So if you've got quite a small page with quite a small fan base, then you might find that your targeting excludes too many people and that Facebook won't let you go with it because it's not going to hit more than 20 people. So it's not really very good if you've got a very small fan base. But the articles I've read about it lately suggest that if you've got kind of quite a small page, not teeny tiny, but maybe a couple of thousand, targeting can really help you because you might get fewer interactions in number, but your percentage of engagement increases. Because it's targeted to people that might not ordinarily have seen it, you get them engaged, and then hopefully next time they'll see your next post and your next post. So your engagement percentage is higher in that respect. It's something I'm fiddling with a little bit lately. I might come back and do another podcast about it when I've kind of spent a bit more time on it. The things that I've read suggested that you should try it for a month with certain posts and see if your engagement improves overall. So I might give that a go when I have a month to really kind of plan properly and do it. But I've been kind of fiddling about with it lately, and I have kind of found it interesting. It's certainly something to try. And like I say with everything, all of the advice I give is just stuff that's my own opinion, the things that I found out from my own experience, and it might be entirely different for you. So targeting is just one of those things that you can try and that may or may not work for you. But it's something that Facebook offers, and they wouldn't offer it if people didn't use it and if it wasn't useful. So it's worth giving it a go. My final tip is the type of content to post. Basically, post evergreen content because obviously, you know, at Christmas trees, you know, Easter eggs and so on. But if you're posting evergreen content, that's content that is kind of evergreen all year round. There's always a chance people will find it and like it, comment on it, share it long after you posted it. Some people might be going through your pictures for whatever reason. You know, posts can have a much longer life on Facebook than it does on Twitter, purely because every time somebody likes it, it shows on their newsfeed and that will show to more people. So that's really worth bearing in mind. When I say post evergreen content, I don't mean find that evergreen blog post that always does well for you and post it once a month. It doesn't need to be your evergreen content. In fact, it probably works better if it's not your evergreen content, because it gives your page more variety. I said last week about people not wanting to come and see kind of a long list of your blog posts on your page because they can see that on your blog. So this is a kind of a similar thing. It's about giving people kind of more variety, some interesting things they might find useful or funny or amusing. And if you can post that kind of evergreen content consistently, then you'll find that your posts have a longer shelf life rather than say if you were posting something about Wimbledon, the Wimbledon final, during the Wimbledon final, that's only relevant during the Wimbledon final, and maybe for 2 days afterwards if you're lucky. News events, sports events and all that, you're really only relevant while it's happening. Once it's stopped happening, once the game is finished, once the event is over, nobody really cares. But if you post something that's just interesting, engaging, thought-provoking, that's not anything to do with what's going on at present in sports or the media or any of that, then as long as it's still interesting and engaging, people are still going to like it and share it and comment on it, and that's what you're looking for. So those were my 5 top tips for more engagement on Facebook. Do let me know what you think, if you found them interesting, if you tried any of them. I'd love to hear from anybody who's had some success with targeting, because it's something I'm still looking at the moment. And if there's anything you'd like to hear about for future podcasts, do please let me know. I am open to requests. That's everything from me for this week. Do come back next week, and thank you for listening.